Good morning, Seattle! We are live here in Climate Pledge Arena. I can hear it. Hopefully you guys at home can hear it. We have this gorgeous crowd, this arena filling up right now. Everyone waiting in anticipation for all of the Dota action we're going to be seeing today. TI12 has begun. It is day number 1, and you're going to start hearing the voices of my beautiful panel. I got Reza joining me, I got Effie, and I have Lacoste, who I know you're absolutely hyped and excited for TI Finals.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's good to be here. Last time I was here was a decade ago, playing on the big stage, but very excited. The crowd, everything, just bringing a lot of memories.
That was a long time ago.
It really was.
There's been a lot of history made in between when you were down there, Lacoste, and now being up here. But Reza, you're on the main stage only a year ago. It wasn't this exact stage, but being back in Seattle, how much does that mean to you and being a panelist now?
This place is just magical to me. It brings so many good memories, like good and bad both. But it's so many highs and so many lows being in this place. Like I was walking there, next to the stages, and I was like, it feels weird coming here tomorrow and not playing, because I've been there so many times, and I mean the crowd here is absolutely amazing every time. Like you just feel that energy coming to the to the players, and I think it's gonna benefit the home teams today for sure.
Was it a different set of nerves for you last night and this morning, knowing that you're going to be here in front of this crowd, that we're going to be watching Dota but not going to be playing the Dota?
I still get nervous actually, going to the panels, because it's very different thing that I'm doing, right? Because I'm talking instead of playing, and I'm showing different set of skills. But I'm enjoying it a lot, because I get to praise players. I get to talk about I get to be the voice basically for the game. So that's pretty exciting.
And what about you, Effie? What are you most excited for this weekend? Not even just today, but overall this weekend. It's our final weekend, and we have 3 days of action.
And outside of watching really good Dota, I just want to hear the crowd yell very loudly, because there is nothing like watching Dota 2 when everybody is cheering. Nothing compares to that. I mean, every game that you watch is so elevated just by the sound of the audience. So just ready for some really good Dota.
Yeah. And Lacoste, the 10 years, they've gone by for you. Do you still
Quickly, yeah.
Quickly, yeah. I couldn't even remember that it was 10 years. Does the crowd still make you nervous as well, or are you like, okay, now scream for me, make some noise?
Oh, absolutely. They don't have to scream for me, but they were going to scream for really good Dota. I couldn't sleep last night. I went to bed at 9. I was already tucked in, watching some movie, trying to fall asleep, and then I woke up 15, 20 times. I'm like, yeah, this is not happening, But every single time, you just get too excited about it.
Yeah, kids on Christmas night is what it feels like, but it's day number 1. There's plenty of stuff to still happen for us. We love the crowd, but 2 people that love the crowd more is Slacks and Tsunami.
That's right, we're standing here in the Climate Pledge Arena right now. So many TI memories have been made here in this rough location, but not this venue before. This is new ground.
Absolutely new ground. I cannot believe how packed this is. The gamers have showed up. Showing up. Feels good to be home. Have you been to a TI before?
Yes, I've been to 3 of them.
3 of them here?
Yeah.
Which ones?
6, 7, and 8.
6. What?
8 wasn't here, but.
Okay, don't bring that one up. No, 6. How's it feel to be back home?
Oh, it's so nice. So nice, yeah. This is awesome.
I'm sorry about the team secret there, my friend. Any words?
If Puppy gets the squad back together, he'll win it.
All right. Anyone else been to a TI before?
Seattle TIs.
Seattle TIs.
Oh,
okay,
you've got tons of badges over here. This man's he's been
7, 8 in this one.
Whoa!
Oh, show that off again. Show the people.
So you've been to so many. What's your favorite TI memory of all time then?
EG winning for sure.
Any North American Dota fans? Who are you rooting for this year?
Gaming Gladiators.
Gladiators, all right. Ooh.
Why are you guys booing?
Slacks, anyone else out here?
All right. Who else we got? Has anyone been to something before TI6? Oh, what do we got here? Hello. Out of my way. No, that's good. Yeah, brother. What TI were you at?
TI4.
TI4? That's an ancient one, huh?
Yeah, we were 15.
When you were 15?
Yeah, we just drove right down.
How old are you now?
27.
Wow.
The math adds up.
Does your back hurt?
I mean, actually, no, because I got the Tidehunter.
Oh! That one's for free, baby. All right, check's in the mail. There we go. All right, has anyone been here before TI4?
Yeah, let's go real back in time.
Oh, my.
TI3, maybe.
TI3.
We got TI3.
All right, there's only 2 people. Okay, I'm too lazy to walk up that many stairs. Hello, so what TI were you at?
TI3.
Oh, no. Oh, no! Why are you here?
Why are you here?
Okay, they're still paying. All right, go see Neil. Go say hello to Neil. Do your thing.
Please.
Hi, Neil. Blink twice if you need me to save you from slags. It's okay, you can do one more.
Round. Casey, what's your favorite TI memory of all time, or TI3 specifically?
I think being such an idiot about Dota and still having fun with the way the community was so welcoming. So Michael's skills and having people instead be like, hey, you dumb bitch. They were like, ha-ha, you tried hard. And it was fantastic, and I've loved it ever since.
We're a very welcoming community. That's a famous thing about Dota, and I'm sure maybe you were working by yourself for TI3?
I gotta say, working by myself for TI3 is a highlight.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Can you guys believe she's still alive? That's crazy, guys. All right, well, it's so good to see you again. All right, back to panel. Thank you, guys. Bye. Get off of me. Crazy.
We're gonna have to try and save slacks for Casey there, but it wouldn't be a TI at all without Casey. So it's so great to have her in the audience, having her appear. So of course, all of that applause for Casey there, and definitely just running up the bit there, making sure Slacks knows his place, that sometimes the solo venture is a little bit better than a duo with Slacks.
I like that bit. So many shots were fired, like, and the guy with the Tidehunter, like, yeah.
It is a skill shot.
Like, oh my God, it's amazing. I love this.
It was beautiful there. Do you guys have a favorite TI memory? You got many under your belt over there, Locust.
Hard to choose. I mean, it's just a celebration of our community. Every single time it just feels magical, so kind of hard to choose one moment.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was definitely beating EG and going to the finals.
Oh, so you want to do the inverse. We had someone in the audience, he's like, my favorite memory was EG winning, and yours is beating EG.
Beating EG, yeah.
All of Roman's memories are, I remember that time the crowd cheered for me when I stood in for Empire, etc. I think my favorite memory has to be, TI3 Grand Finals, Navi versus Alliance. It's probably the most iconic moment of Dota for me.
Yeah, I'm going to be the cringiest person ever and say my favorite memory is the one that we're about to make today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I had to throw that one in there. We got Casey back, and she had a lot of fun catching up with some fans, getting to have some conversations with them.
Okay, you guys look especially lovey-dovey. What's going on here? We got engaged this weekend for this trip, so yeah.
Right before our flight to Seattle.
Yeah, right before we left yesterday. We've been here.
So she could wear the ring all weekend.
Let me see the ring. It was my aunt's, so it's a family ring. So he got it resized and everything on his own. And
We've been so excited for this trip.
Yeah, we've known each other since high school. Been dating for 3 years, so it's about time.
About time, sir. You understand what she means by that?
You're telling me.
That's the best part about coming. I mean, actually, I just got you like 2 minutes in, so maybe you're just not
so
quite sure yet.
We're excited for the Crimson Skins.
Yeah, the Crimson Witness cache. We're excited just for Dota, the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my mother. I got her into Dota because we need something to share and have in common, and she got completely hooked on it. And despite the fact that she's never played a game, she started watching in 2017, and she knows all the teams, all the players. She's a huge fan, wakes up like 6 in the morning to watch Dota.
Deal?
Getting the goodie bag.
Let me see what's in there. Have you looked in?
I haven't.
Okay, let's take a look.
It's my badge, and oh, it's Alina.
Oh, look at that.
Pretty cool.
Are you here with a bunch of friends?
Yeah, they're right up there, I think. Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, where are you?
No, I mean, they ditched me. They ditched me at this point.
Wait, you let me take you on an escalator to nowhere and ditched your friends.
Yeah, anything for you, Casey.
Tell me what team you're here for. Nouns, all the way Nouns. Yes.
NA Dota.
What?
We made it.
Which team are you here for?
It's Nouns.
Nouns, okay, what about you?
LGD.
Yeah, what about you?
Spirit.
Yeah, what about
Spirit.
you? Team Spirit. I'm getting tired. What? Oh no!
Which team? Russia. Russia.
Just speed.
Okay,
Russia.
which team?
Liquid.
Liquid. Which team?
Now got this.
Okay.
Sure.
Phil, I'm very tight. Want me, bro? What are you rooting for? Who are you rooting for?
No, wait for
What about you? What about you? Quick, we're getting to the end.
No, no.
Ah, God.
What is slack?
What do you mean, where is slacks? Get out of here.
We're asking everyone their favorite team there, who they're hoping is going to be taking home the Aegis, and that's the top 8 teams. But we had many other weekends of Dota before this. We had groups 2 weekends ago. We had playoffs last weekend as well. With playoffs, key memories. What came out of that when we had to say goodbye to, how many was it? 8 other teams, which was massive. This was the bracket for it. We had the upper bracket, the lower bracket, and there were so many teams that we had to say goodbye to a cost.
Yeah, unfortunately, but it's just the way it is. I'm really glad that there's a rise in Eastern European Dota. This is the region that has a lot of new up-and-coming players. As we can see, they had the 3 teams in the upper bracket, starting in the upper bracket quarterfinals, and also China. China showing up strong. This is the first time that they started TI with only 2 teams, so really glad that they're doing well. Both teams in the upper bracket semis.
Yeah, I mean, Eastern Europe gave us one of the greatest TI Cinderella stories of all time with Team Spirit at TI10, and it feels like Virtus Pro are on a little bit of potentially replicating that run, because it seems like everything has just clicked for them right in time. I did not expect them to get this far, and if they've gone under the radar that long, they may catch everybody by surprise. So that is my team to watch for today.
I feel like there's another team that has a similar sort of Cinderella story potential for themselves, Reza. That's Nouns. I know you're a fan of them. We also had Casey catching up. A lot of people rooting for Nouns.
Of course I am. It takes me back to the memories of DC times when we were the dark horse. We were not expecting anything from like our team, and they're kind of in that position as well, where like there's no pressure on them, but they can only perform, and they can perform in front of their audience, which is like amazing, and it gives them energy. And you know, we might see some unexpected results today for sure.
Yeah, a lot of unknowns. We had a lot of high highs and a lot of low lows. That's what you talked about, Rezo. Not only in this stadium will that happen, but we had it last weekend at the convention center during our playoffs. So let's have a recap. Let's see how all of our teams performed a weekend ago.
Total heartbreak for Shopify, but regional rivals in NA have proven that nothing is secured.
What a rough way to go out if you're EG. Because buyback on a fan. International and Vivo Keystars, they're out of here. For Talon, this is where it's going to end.
Virtus Pro knocking Entity out of the competition, 2-0 here today. 9 Pandas, an unfortunate series for them to go out on, right? This is a team that we've seen great stuff from.
Imagine the mental toll on TSM from the last 40 minutes.
Imagine the mental toll on us. The TI11 winners are eliminated by Entity 2-0.
Divine Rapier. All in. EK jumps forward, finds one. Waveform, how much damage can they take? They absolutely rip through them. That's gonna do it. Toronto Tokyo with his axe. He's so freaking tanky on this Undying. 10,000 HP on Toronto Tokyo. Looking for more. Bet boom. They're gonna claim the game. How do you do that? How?
Gabby leads him with the southern guy, but Kiritis just steps up and absolutely rips apart.
Big blast.
Ice blast coming in with a great catch onto pretty much the entirety of them. Stormstormer goes down. Double kill for Kiritis. He's ready to look for the cleanup here. Diving into the tower, looking towards Watson. Triple kill for Kiritis. He doesn't even go down the Watson.
Oh, the Ravage to be able to follow this. An absolute disaster for Gaming Gladiators and Evil Genius. They will feast in this fight. They're able to take away the Aegis. Duracio's back into play, and yeah, Quinn's back with a shield rune at that. Oh, Shellgrave just at the right time to be able to bail up Duracio. They finish up the tree, but Duracio fighting for his life right now. Great avalanche to be able to cover him up, but the Shallow Graves are just going. He will not die. Finally, because deals with them, but the damage is done. Duracio lives.
Kiyotaka, he's right behind. He's going to get instantly hexed. There's the RP onto 2. Can they take out the OD? Agnes Interceptor does activate again. He's going to get rooted up in an ice. Mystic Flare onto 2 heroes. There's the buyback onto the tree, but the OD is lost along with the Primal. Shiro finally takes a tumble. There's the Overgrowth. Nice dispel coming out from Moo, instantly getting rid of that. And now Whitemon completely surrounded. Kasane really low, but again, he has the Aegis, so that's life number 1. The roll in with the Mystic Flare is enough to take out Ari despite using that ult. A huge team fight win for Nouns as they clean up nicely.
Jeff picked up the Aegis. 23 is going to have that extra life. Is he going to be fine though? Maybe right in there with the BKB, but he don't. Too away. Mickey, he managed to push through both of those heroes, 1 versus 2, and the rest of Talon are crumpling to the initiation of the storms here.
Well, he's going to show on the tower. DP's going to start to come in. The looks to burst through the Spectre immediately. He went to set up the round again. The Mystic Flare. Happy pop. They didn't have enough damage. Lowe's perfectly fine. He's ready to turn. The dagger across. They brought down Gunner. They'll take down Moo as well underneath the tower. Moo survives. Janssen also to fall here. Sumner's catching him with the stun.
Now they did kill off the Muerto already. Laurel tries to back away.
Tries to escape. Yaro gunslinging away. Does he have enough damage? Can he get out of there? Survives. He turns it around. Triple kill. Yaro goes for an ultra.
Oh, it couldn't have been worse.
Last weekend, it was those 8 teams that got knocked out. Shopify, Key, TSM, EG, Talon, Entity, Tundra, 9 Pandas. We won't be seeing any of those players gracing the stage, but it did leave us with our top 8. We saw them there: LGD, Azure, Liquid, BetBoom, Team Spirit Gaming, Gladiators, Nouns, and Virtus Pro. So these 8 teams, there's a potential for TI repeats. It's only ever happened once before, guys, but there is a potential for it to happen again. There is the obvious Team Spirit minus LOL are going to have their chance to be able to lift the Aegis for a second time over the next few days. But also Toronto Tokyo is still in the running on his new team, BetBoom, and we have Y Smile still left there on LGD.
Yeah, I'm really glad that Toronto Tokyo is up there because it was a really difficult decision for him to make to leave the Team Spirit. You know, after winning TI and not having the greatest result TI afterwards, he, also changed the position, which is a bit of an awkward one, going from mid lane to position 5, not a traditional transition that you see in Dota 2, but yeah, Team Spirit, they still have it, this magical TI run that they had at TI10, and also they seem to power up as we get closer to TI. They just won the Riyadh Masters, and the boys, they're back in town.
Yeah, but also Y from LGD. I feel like LGD got so close TI10. It felt like they had the hopes and dreams of their entire region on them for so long, and it felt like we saw the decline of the Chinese region afterwards, where teams just did not perform the year after. We only had 2 Chinese teams come into this TI, but the 2 that came in with Azure and LGD, they look so good. They look like they're there to reinvigorate the region, and a 2-time TI win for Y could be just what they need. So I am really excited to see him here contending again in top form.
There's a lot of hopefuls, and I am excited to see if that's going to happen. And obviously, it feels like no matter what does happen, Effie, there's going to be that China region sort of being reborn off of the back of TI12 here. But there's also new hopefuls, right? Everyone that hasn't won is a new hopeful, but some people, it's their first TI, Rezo. We've got a lot of people on our screen here, and these are all of the players. First time TI, first time here in Climate Pledge Arena, first time on this main stage for the International, and they could, in 3 days' time, be lifting the Aegis.
I mean, I just love to see the combination of new players coming with the old players to the TI, because back in my days, we were coming like everybody was new, but now you have this synergy between new and old. And that's why, that's how you can actually win the championships. Like for Virtus Pro, for example, they have on their squad that G, very very veteran player like FNG that's leading the team right now. So they're they have what it takes to actually be the champions. And there's possibilities, definitely.
I feel like it also adds on to what you were just saying, Effie, about how why picking up the Aegis again for themselves would be massive for LGD to win. But they've got 3 new players too, so even more so that it's there's a lot of hope for new players in that region.
Yeah, and I'm sure their veteran teammates want them to experience the feeling of winning something. I mean, we saw it in the Riyadh Masters with Team Spirit. Yashira said that the reason why they tried so hard is they just wanted Laurel to experience that sensation of winning and picking up the trophy. So for that to happen for all of these hopefuls, that would be incredible. But also, I just want to shout out Gunner, because it's wild to think that he's a TI rookie. It feels like he got so close every year to almost qualifying for TI. He's worked TI as an analyst, but for him to finally be playing a TI as a player and in the top 8, in the playoffs no less, in his home region, I mean, that is a story.
Yeah, I mean, last year was so tough for them, last chance qualifiers. That's how far and how close they were to be able to, crowning themselves as TI players. But this almost feels like a story for them, like a fairy tale for them. We've had a lot of faces return here for TI. We saw Casey. We're going to see another familiar face. It's Purge.
362 days. That's the time since Tundra lifted the Aegis of Champions in Singapore. Since then, 123 teams in 6 different regions competed in leagues and majors to make it here to the road to the international. We started on that road at TI with 20 teams. In the last 2 weeks, there's been 126 games. That's 6 rampages. There's been 603 buybacks, 4,866 observer wards, and 343,461 dead creeps. Now, the road has been littered with heartbreak and hearts of Trask, but that road led us here back to Seattle for the first time in 6 years. So we're left with the final 8 teams. That's 8 teams who are fighting for one goal, and that goal is to lift the Aegis of Champions.
Purge giving us all the numbers there, and I got some more numbers for you. That's the times that we might be seeing our teams playing. It's our schedule for day 1 of TI12 Nouns Gaming Gladiators. We're starting up with that elimination match. It's going to be followed up with another one between Bet Boom and Virtus Pro. We're going to then shift to the upper bracket. We have Team Spirit against Liquid. We'll see if they're able to rival each other, and then LGD Azure going to have that interregional China showdown.
It's hard to choose which one is going to be like the most exciting one, because all of these are bangers. The interregional matchups, they might be, people think, oh, they're not going to be as hype. But for me, LGD against Azure Ray, this is going to be the hypest one, because they didn't get the chance to play as much, because Azure Ray, they formed during the 3rd DPC tour. So I want to see, who's going to be the best Chinese team here.
And it's not just that, it's old LGD versus new LGD, right? So there's always that kind of, sense of arrogance and wanting to prove that you are the better version of that team. And we see this a lot with interregional rivalries. We saw it in South America when EG and Beast Coast had their big roster shuffle. And they both wanted to prove that we are the best players in this region. We're better than you. So I feel like we're going to see that with LGD and Azure today.
A lot of pressure on the teams for today. Hopefully they're not putting it on themselves, though, as they did arrive earlier this morning. They were walking on the red carpet. We see all of our teams trickling in there. What sort of emotions does that bring back for you, Rezo?
That's pretty cool. Like when you're walking on this red carpet, like you feel like you're a success. People are watching you. People wanted to see you like walking on that stage, playing on that stage. It's a very incredible feeling, to be honest.
It was nice to hear some of the audience as well cheering when they saw the players that they're obviously here supporting, walking up as well. So we know the players are in the building. They're prepping themselves up for the day that is going to unfold for them. And any big matchups that you want to highlight, Effie? Because Lacoste couldn't pick, right? Lacoste couldn't pick over there. He's an undecided Andy.
Yeah. Outside of the one we just talked about, I feel like we have to say this Nouns Gaming Gladiators match has to be the one to watch. Not to be biased because we're starting the day with it, but it could be one of the biggest upset in TI history if Nouns, a team that nobody expected to make it this far, didn't have a good year, knock out the team that won every major back-to-back this year. That would be a crazy story.
They have it all lined up for themselves. They just have to get over that last little hurdle, that bit of actually winning the series. We're not up to it just yet. I want to talk about this 4-day break, okay? Because Gaming Gladiators announced they're going to be the first team going in. There's always an essence of calming the nerves if you're seeing other people on stage, if you see other people experience it first, that you might be a little bit in a saner headspace. But 4 days break, how does that alter one, Rezo? How do you take such a big break off after playing for 1 day in playoffs?
I mean, I think there's also a struggle of like teams finding opponents, right? Because like you don't really want to show your strategies, and you get to pick like only a few teams that you're like like on the different side of the bracket, so you can practice your things and without worrying that people are gonna steal them or anything like that. I know for gamings, for example, they didn't want to scream like many teams because they thought they would, they teach other teams like how to play better instead of like they're improving because they're already like at a very high level, right? So it's definitely like a struggle for teams to have that practice during those 4 days, but it also a very like good time to be creative and find some other strategies that can like find like, for example, counter picks to Bristleback or like to Primal Beast, this heroes that are in the meta, like find some different unique approaches to them.
How would you spend your 4 days if you were coaching or as a player, Lacoste?
It's not an easy one because these 4 or 5 days, I think it benefits these more established teams like Gaming Gladiators because they're the team that was studied the most throughout 2023. They were the team that, if you wanted to win a tournament, you needed to be prepared to meet the final boss of 2023. And now they've also been a team, I like to call them the hipster team of Dota because they like to experiment a lot, playing all of these new things. So I'm pretty sure that in these 4 or 5 days, they managed to, slip a couple of these heroes that we maybe haven't seen. And they're going to be able to put them in this series against Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this 4-day break is really interesting because when we have these really cool Cinderella-type runs at TI, it happens because nobody has time to prepare for the team that suddenly shows up. But 4 days puts a wedge in that entirely, right? And then it becomes about your preparation. It becomes about your draft notes, how well you're going to go into a series in terms of how you're going to respond to their heroes, how you're examining them over the next few days, and how your players do personally, because that would change player to player on how they can reel in their emotions, if it makes them more anxious to wait before they play, or if it makes them more calm. So there are a lot of variables that we're not used to seeing. So I have no idea what's going to happen today.
I like that you did mention the draft prep, though, because I did some prep myself. I looked at some numbers, and I was very surprised at the changes between groups and playoffs. And I wanted to see if you guys thought there might be some changes between playoffs and groups of heroes that we're seeing. So between groups and playoffs, AA went from a 28% contest rate all the way up to 65%. So jumped massively. Bristle as well was already pretty high at 62%, went up to 92%, whereas Venge went from 46 down to 7.6%.
I think the correlation between this AA and Bristle has like a lot of in common because AA is a counter to Bristleback, so this is also the hero that everybody's tanky, so you want to be able to burst them down. And Bristleback, I think a lot of teams throughout the tournament figured out, this is just OP. We don't know how to counter it, so most of the time you'll see Bristleback being banned because it's so difficult. Like a lot of teams do manage to sneak it in, especially Gaming Gladiators in their last series that they played. They played it 2 times and they looked amazing with it.
I like how Liquid approached the Bristleback. I was talking to Blitz and he said, like Zai said in the game that we're gonna kill this Bristleback 10 times before he gets to the items. And they like managed to try lane or even like four people bring on his lane and like keep killing jobs in that game. So that's the only approach they knew how to how to stop that here. But basically AA has a unique mechanic of like stopping the region, and because like it's matter of Heart of Tarask, right? You guys like stopping this item from being useful, and that's why like this hero is in top. But for Venge, like for example, it's very weak on lane, it doesn't provide as much damage, and you need to have damage supports in this meta.
Yeah, but I'm also just really glad that you brought up Vengeful Spirit kind of being shafted a little bit, because there's this interesting phenomenon that happens every TI where the group stage meta, if it's being played online and not in front of a crowd of this caliber, or even the crowd that we had during the Road to TI playoffs, which was not at this scale, but still quite nerve-wracking, a lot of teams will shift from these single-target, individualistic type of heroes to teamfight. Every TI, teamfight somehow always comes back into the meta. So a support like Vengeful Spirit, who just gives you a damage amplification but not that much teamfight presence, will always be pushed away in favor of your Phoenixes, your Ancient Apparitions. We see this also with Rubik somehow coming back into TI meta always, Shaker coming back into TI meta always. I feel like it's just how teams reel in their nerves. You simplify Dota, you play for team fights, you play for the big plays.
All right, well, we've discussed a lot of topics this morning. We've gone over what teams are remaining. We've gone over potential shifts in meta, how teams have spent their last 4 days, that anticipation, those nerves. Are they ready? How are they going to be sitting it for themselves? And it does mean the checklist is getting towards the bottom. We only have a couple more things to do, and that is to have our TI12 opening ceremony.
burns away fears of failure whenever the battle horn blows. It feeds conviction to explore beyond imagined boundaries, to find new standards of excellence and carve a path to victory like we've never seen before. The road is filled with fallen adversaries, but the battle for the Aegis endures. And those who remain will fight to show everyone legends don't follow in the footsteps of others. Welcome the finest Dota teams in the world. Gaming Gladiators. Nouns. Boom team. Virtus Pro. Team Spirit. Team Liquid. LGD Gaming! Azure Ray!
Seriously?
Remember, Gabe, it's just a game. Oh, yeah, that's true. Wait, did he just tilt you with your own voice line? Yes. What? Hi, I'm Gabe Newell. And like many of you, I have a complicated relationship with Dota. What's not complicated is when you bring the best players in the world together at the highest level of competition. And I'm personally very pleased that we're able to do this in Seattle for the first time in half of a decade. So to all of you, welcome to the International.
It's been 6 years, Dota fans. Seattle, did you miss us? We missed you too.
It feels so good to be home, baby! Welcome back home! Best Dota teams in the world at the best Climate Pledge Arena in the world coming down here to fight for their lives. This is what we live for, baby. This is it!
We brought 20 teams here on the road, and 8 of them remain for the International. Are you guys ready to see them duke it out?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Seattle!
I'm definitely excited about TI returning to Seattle. It was basically where it all began, right?
I love TI in Seattle. I feel like this is the best TI that ever have been.
I'm super stoked for Seattle.
Arena was a really important place for Dota. That arena was really magic.
I've heard from a lot of players that Seattle TI is always like something special.
I never got to play there, so I'm really grateful to get to that city. I think it's also a really beautiful city. Of course, it's gonna be the same arena like the last TIs, right? So it's gonna be cool to be at that place in person. It's quite a historical place for a Dota player, I think.
可能会有更加特殊的自信吧，然后一切都还是要先等到去呼吸一下西雅图的空气吧，然后去感受一下那边的氛围。
Muy emocionado, o sea, fue mi primer tiempo fue en Seattle y como que siento que volver ahí puede marcar para mí un antes y un después, así que me siento muy emocionado de ir ahí.
I'm really excited for TI to be coming back to Seattle. The crossing of worlds there and family members or friends getting to see that piece is really cool and special, I think.
Having TI back in Seattle is gonna be really fun. I think it's gonna tie into a lot of the nostalgic value that I have for my early TIs.
I really want to find some Starbucks in Seattle and try it.
It's okay. Basically, it's like the OG place in some ways. So I'm really excited for it to be there.
It's such an iconic place for a Dota tournament. Seattle is like the TI city.
Seattle will always hold a special place in every Dota player's heart, whether you're up there on the stage playing as a pro player, if you're at home right now watching as a casual player. This arena and this place means so much for us. And now we have a cathedral in the sky. This is the theme, everything that we've been seeing building up to this moment, Effie, of this year and this past month.
Dude, I'm so excited. I just can't contain myself watching those videos, just watching the memories, being here again. There are no words to put this feeling.
It's a very special, unique experience for me to be watching and not having having to deal with the pressure and just purely enjoying the picture of it and the memories and what's happening before is just such an incredible feeling. I'm really grateful to be here, actually.
And what about you, Lucas? We're going to be having our first two teams, walking out on stage very soon. Not just yet, though.
I mean, this is magical. I can't really even explain it. Look at how beautiful this is. This is by far the best stage we've ever had at TI, without a doubt.
I'm just fully with Evie. It's so hard to be able to put everything into words. I just want to look. I don't even want to speak right now. The opening ceremony, it was absolutely beautiful, but it is time. We have to see some Dota action. We have to see some teams walk out, and we're going to be graced with Gaming Gladiators, our first team to Climate Pledge Arena. Can hear the roar that the arena has for them. Look at Duracio pulling out the muscles there. He wants to go far. He wants to be able to play as many games on this stage as possible. They've been able to do majors, but will they be able to show up on the stage that really matters against their first opponent? Team is the underdog. They have been the underdog all month, and now they're having the whole arena cheer their team names, cheer their player names. We're going to see these 5 players and see if they're able to stand up against the task that is Gaming Gladiators, Effie.
My goodness, can you imagine how Nouns are feeling right now walking onto that stage? I mean, I was just watching Gunnar walk in there. He's been wanting to play on the main stage for so long. This has been a dream of his for so long, and they have something to prove here today versus Gaming Gladiators. I mean, this is like a David and Goliath kind of situation. Even though GG are coming in from the lower bracket, they were the dominant team all year. They were the team to beat all year, so this is going to be a true test for Nouns here.
Pretty much, this is the last NA team left, which probably no one expected them to be here. You know, the whole underdog story and reaching top 8, and they're still not done, you know, because they played in the groups and it was 1-1. So I feel like Nouns, they have something special prepared for gaming in this one.
I mean, they have to. Nouns just as a whole, I feel like you can describe as special. Even throughout DPC tours, we're seeing them pick up a lot of different heroes in very unique places already, just on the road to the international. We saw Gunnar playing Ogre mid, and when it comes to officials, that is very out of the box. The same thing with Moo, their offlaner, picking up that Witch Doctor. Dazzle as well. Ogre offlane too, Rezo.
Yeah, they have very unique strategies, and they use and profit a lot as well from the past games. And I'm just happy to see Gunnar on this stage. Like, I know this guy for a long time, and there's a story about him. Like, when he lost one of his TI qualifiers, he went straight up like to the basement and like practiced non-stop. Like after that, like
really,
this is shows like his his will of like do it no matter what. And I'm really happy that I look at him right now, like on this stage performing like already in top 8 and having a chance to like be this incredible Cinderella story going forward with it.
Yeah, and he got here with his own flair, right? Just like Nat was mentioning, with the Ogres, the Witch Doctor offlanes, the first pick Naga Sirens. I mean, this team has brought their own special flavor or variety of Dota, I would say, to TI, and it's taken them this far. So I'm just really excited to see if they've cooked up anything new, if they're gonna keep doing the picks that we've seen, or if they've maybe they're gonna bust out that Dark Willow carry for Hector. I know that's not his style, but that seems to be the new, flavor of the week hero.
And the Hector, he's been amazing. If we talk back a couple of years ago when he was playing for the Beast Coast, he was always that guy, the K1 TP. One of the reasons why the games are longer, because he tends to farm slightly, more than some of the other carries. But his PL performance against TSM, he was really pushing the limits with the hero. And glad to see that he's back on track, because, watching Hector play, he's been studied by most carry players for a good reason for a really long time.
I also want to compliment Lelis on this team. I was like really surprised surprised about his performance on this TI, and like especially like heroes like Clockwork and Skywrath Mage. He's been performing insanely well, like doing all the rotation and like always hitting up his spells like perfectly. And I don't know, it's just like it's very good to see him like how he switched from the position 3 to position 4 and like performing like in this incredibly high level already.
Okay, well, if we're already naming all the Nouns players, we may as well put Yamsen in there as well. I think a special shout out to him because just before qualifiers, after they had the unfortunate performance at the Bali Major that they did, Yamsen went from 1 to 5, right? They had that roster change up for them. That's how they were able to bring in K1, and they're able to show up like they have now. So Yamsen as well making a really big change for himself, and now he's a top 8 TI12 finalist.
Yeah, he looks like he's been playing support forever. I mean, but I'm so glad you brought him up because you have to give kudos to a player willing to sacrifice themselves for their team. Because based on the interview that I heard with Gunnar a few months ago when they first made the initial roster shift, Yamsen himself was like, we need to make a change. Something didn't work out at Bali. Hector is a free agent. He says he's willing to play with us. I'm not willing to leave the team. I've played support before. I can switch. I can switch to position 5. And he did it. He just gave up his role, and it looks like it worked out perfectly for them to be able to put yourself in that position for the greater good of your team. That's a very good teammate. That's somebody that you do want to play with.
I do admire players like this because it takes like a lot of you know, conscious about like how you wanna like make your team the best, right? And if it means to switch the position and like bring the other player in, like sure, I'm gonna do it. Like I'm that player myself too. Like I switched many roles during my career just because like I wanted to play like with the people that I admire and respect. Like if it takes that, you know, going out of the comfort zone and learning something new, I'm willing to take that risk, you know.
It's not only just us, by the way, that feel this Nouns flair when it comes to heroes, where they're going to play it. Because I was talking to Quinn, and he said the hardest thing about facing Nouns is that you could put hours, days, maybe 4 days worth of prep into Nouns, but they could show up and they could just throw that out the window, every prep that you've done, and they could just pick something new, something that no one's expecting at all, because that's what they've been working in the backlines, and they think that catching someone off guard is going to be what pushes them through an elimination, takes them that level higher, and is able to elevate them. So Gaming Gladiators also have a pretty tough task ahead of themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, they're very creative as a team when it comes down to picks, how they're going to play it. I think Moo plays a big part of that team when it comes down to being versatile in the heroes that he's been playing, because you know, he can pretty much play anything. This offlane Dazzle, offlane Witch Doctor brought a couple of records as well in terms of healing at TI because of it. And this guy, you know, he didn't play at TI since he got the second place at TI6, and then he was kind of gone, you know, showing up here and there, but started to play again recently, and it really paid off. And I'm really glad to see some, you know, old school players coming back and coming in very hot, reaching top 8 already.
For sure, always great to see. But on the topic of Gaming Gladiators, I mean, it's really funny to hear Quinn say that about Nouns, because I feel like in a way, Gaming are kind of antithetical to how Nouns work, right?
The complete inverse.
Right, you feel like you know what they're gonna pick. They're very good at what they play. People prepare for them and they still lose to their heroes. So to have a team that has such a stable hero pool, you know, by the book for mostly everything, with the exception of the Necrophoses coming out recently, with the exception of the support invokers, you kind of know what Ace is going to pick. You know what they're going to build around. You know what kind of carry style Duratio is going to be playing. So it's going to be an interesting collision of styles here.
They did bring some new heroes though, like this Chen from Celery. Like we didn't see many Chens in this tournament. I think Duratio also picking up that Weaver, that not a lot of carry players are willing to take that risk, because it's very squishy hero, and he, like for this team, like they can rely heavily on Ace, because Ace is that kind of like guy who's like sometimes even their main carry, you know. You see this Brewmaster like going Midas is Radiance. He's not like really playing position 3. He's playing like more of a Van, and Duratio is like taking over like this aggressive carry hero that's running around the map and making space for him.
We're actually going to directly compare Ace and Moo. We've talked about the clashes of flares, the clashes of styles here between them. And Moo, having only played 2 extra heroes, a lot of different ones though for himself. So he, yeah, we kind of already highlighted there, but the Ogre and the Dazzle, this was stuff that they picked up in playoffs last week.
Yeah, and it's interesting to note that the Dawnbreaker, which is one of the popular offlaners of this patch, Moo just hasn't played it, you know? I think that his Brewmaster is one of the scariest in this tournament, and this is a hero that you cannot give away. But at the same time, you never know when he's going to bust out his offlane Witch Doctor, his offlane Dazzle. I mean, anything could happen. With Ace, he's just the rock of game, and like we've mentioned, they build around his Primal Beasts and his Bristles, and he always delivers in terms of farm security. He always delivers in terms of, you know, correct target priority in team fights, and that's why he's so scary. It feels like you can never shut him down, but he'll never catch you off guard in terms of hero picks.
And one of the reasons why they were so successful throughout the year is this Ace stability. They're offlane duo, but Ace as a player, I think he needed to adapt the most after, you know, the big patch drop, because they were playing this early base Dota, you know, buying all these auras and then grouping up, finishing the games pretty quickly. He needed to swap things around because of all of these aura buyers, they were gone. So he needed to implement new heroes, and really glad that they are also playing this faster style of Dota. You know, the average game time at TI was around 40 minutes, and they are speeding things up, because if you look at their last series that they played against 9 Pandas, they really demolished them. These games were so quick. One game ended in 19 minutes.
Wow.
There's also a secret behind Ace and Tofu and why they're so successful in the lane. I know for sure that they've been playing like party games, maybe on
Power of Friendship.
Yeah, the power of friendship. They've been playing on Smurfs together like for a long time, and that's why like they're winning all these majors, because they have such a big synergy like between them, and they understand each other pretty well. Like, you know, both hero pools and stuff, like how to do this micro little things on the lane that, you know, would win the lanes, and you know, that's the key to their success.
I thought you were actually going to say it was their coach, CY, because that's also a new addition for them this year. And CY, Astini, two very different styles of coaching, I'd feel, Effie.
Oh, completely.
Oh, she's ready for the monologue.
Okay, yes. No, so I don't want to go too in-depth about it because we did touch up on a little bit, but I feel like Astini's a very cerebral kind of coach. He makes his style more so about the hero picks themselves, not so much in the motivational aspect or in the, you know, working on each player individually in terms of their psychology or not, whereas CY does that. He's that motivational coach.
We're going to see how the coaches are going to be able to motivate, what they're going to pick as draft for game 1 is here.
Nouns versus Game Gladiators. Game 1.
If it didn't feel real with the opening ceremony, it has to feel real now. Our first series of TI12 here in Climate Pledge Arena draft. Up on screen here, Murta being banned out. We're going to wait to see what else gets banned out between these two teams. Do you want to stab in the dark? Bristle, SB, will we be seeing those ones let through Dazzle at all?
But I don't think Bristol getting through. It's just too hard to deal with that hero. Like it just creates so much pressure on the enemies to stop him completely, and it allows your other heroes to be completely free if the enemy team does that.
Yeah, but I feel like there are so many heroes that have presented themselves as problems in this patch that sometimes Bristleback does get through. Like, we've seen him come through in the playoffs a few times. I feel like another one of these Bristleback type problem heroes is a Spirit Breaker. Often when teams let him through, they try to counter it with something like a Shadow Demon or a Yule's Buyer, and it just doesn't work out. So I do wonder if we're going to see the cow in this series.
Yeah, this Spirit Break is kind of here that puts you on a timer, because the later the game goes, the more broken it becomes, because he's going to have more move speed, more items, and like more chaos is going to be created in the fights.
The big hero that I'm looking into, especially for Gaming Gladiators, is CK. This hero is just insane. The amount of farm that the hero can get, and also team fight. Like, you hit your early items, and like it's just too powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and
banned.
it's taken out.
Yeah.
There's also the Brewmaster that we mentioned.
There you go.
I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I do feel like Mu is one of the best brews at this tournament. And in Nouns' series versus TSM in the Road to TI playoffs, this hero was the bane of their existence. It's the reason why they can never end the game on their timer. And yeah, this is pretty scary. Usually teams solve a brew with carries like Luna, things with AoE damage that can kill the brewlings later on, but Luna has had a bit of a decline.
I mean, historically, Anti-Mage and Naix was like counter picks to the Brewmaster, but those heroes are not going to be seen in this meta for a while.
I mean, if there's a team to play Lifestealer, it is Gaming Gladiators. Duraccio always calls for these bizarre last picks sometimes. I remember at the BB Dacha tournament, we were sitting down and watching the game and draft in the green room, and then this Lifestealer comes out, overall last pick. Everyone was confused by it. CY walks into the green room. He's like, that was a Duraccio call. That was not me. I do not believe in this pick. But they actually ended up winning the game. So sometimes you have to trust your carry.
And we've seen the smiles coming out from Moo because he should be pretty happy about getting Brewmaster in the first phase, because this hero does pretty much everything. If game drags post 40 minutes, this hero just becomes insane. If you don't have enough to kill the Brewlings during the split, especially sieging the high ground, this is the most difficult thing in Dota. It's been like that forever. Brewmaster comes in very handy. And on the side of Gaming Gladiators, we did touch upon Weaver as the pick, which can be played as a carry. This like newer build where you pick up early shard, you go for Deso, and then you start joining some of these earlier fights. The hero a bit squishy, but it can also be played as position 4. Tofu didn't play it yet, but there were other teams that they try to experiment, especially Tundra with this position 4 Weaver, and it looked really good in the laning stage. And also a hero that can scale. If we're talking about the position 4, which you get items like Road of Atos, upgrade it to Gleipnir later on, some Solar Crest, you're transitioning really well.
Yeah, I want to touch on that position 4 Weaver a little bit more, because when Tundra played it, they were able to be really aggressive. They were able to take over a lot of this map, and if the game were to play out in an immaculate fashion, they would have closed it out in about 20-22 minutes. So Weaver might be hitting this pace, this tempo that you guys also touched on, that Gaming Gladiators want to start bringing a little bit more with this meta.
Yeah, they were doing some really cool things with that Weaver, actually. I remember watching 9 just rotate mid behind the tower around minute 5 and just kill the enemy mid laner that Thompson had gotten really low. So Weaver is one of those supports that if it is flexed, it can just be played in ways that are very open in the game. And just back during the DPC, when support Weaver was very popular first pick material, it was Tofu who kind of brought it into the meta with the Vessel.
So I was going to say why the Weaver worked so well for that Tundra was it was paired with the Grimstroke, so you could put the Inkswell on you and you go in and it was just this instant, almost guaranteed stun.
Yeah, this was the pairing that people were playing in pubs back in the days when Grimstroke was first introduced to Weaver and Grimstroke. So you put Phantom, you put the Swarm and the Inkswell. So you can't kill the Phantom, you can't kill Swarm, and you're also going to get stunned. And Grimstroke has been the hero that has been buffed. When I first read the patch notes, I'm like, this is pretty big, but after seeing the TI groups playoffs as well, this hero is just insane. The fact that you can time your stun, it makes him so much more potent in some of these earlier engagements.
Yeah, and by adding this Grimstroke to this draft, you can safely say that this Weaver can go against this Brewmaster in lane, because that's the way that you can solve this hero, is you punish it. You kill it over and over again while you still can. And that level 3 Phantom's Embrace, when you have to hit it 3 times versus Brewmaster, into another stun follow-up, maybe from the mid lane, maybe something like a Shaker with a Fisher from a distance. If you can take out this Brew at the start of a fight, that is a way to solve this hero.
Oh, they went for Dark Willow. I wonder if it's position 1 Dark Willow actually for K1, and they practice it and they're gonna show us something new today. But I did think that they would go for Lily Skywrath Mage, because it's like it's really good to have silence against Weaver, or like some Bloodseeker, for example. Like that makes this hero like pretty hard to pull off. But once again, we don't see a lot of Bloodseekers in this meta, even though he has like a percentage-based damage, which is pretty cool against all the beefy heroes.
Dawnbreaker's still in the pool. It's the hero that synergizes well with Weaver, and also another hero that does have something to deal with Dark Willow. We talked about this being, heavy hard blade mail meta, but also untargetable heroes like Dark Willow and also Huerta. These heroes are very difficult to deal with, so you need some kind of AoE to be able to stun the hero. This is why I think Dawnbreaker comes in super handy. And also Chen. This is the hero that we haven't seen much being played at TI. They brought it against 9 Pandas, I believe, and it looked really good. He just dominated the laning stage, which also means that this Grimstroke is going to be played as position 4.
Yeah, I love how Gaming Gladiators, like in this meta where people playing like very long games, like 50-60 minute games, we've seen a lot of them. They're actually the ones who are like saying, no, we're gonna like fast push and we're gonna end the games like around 20-30 minutes, because people are not ready for that. Like especially when they're like dominating their lanes as heavily as they do. Like it's very cool that they take this approach into the games.
Yeah, the last time that Gaimin played Chen, they won in 19 minutes. It was pretty wild. Like they just played the safe lane normally. They rotated the Chen through the gates. They got a couple of kills. They went mid, and they just played on that tempo. So something to fit into that kind of tempo would be this Tidehunter who can buy the auras, can be something to center around and run down a lane with.
I think Slark is an amazing pick for Nouns right now. Nope. Earth Spirit. I mean, it's another beefy tanky hero that kind of likes to play, and they've been.
They don't have much control. The only control they have is this Phantom and maybe a leash mechanic, but that's about it. He's not afraid. Later on, when Tide picks up the Shard, that's going to be the big one, and we've seen Tides picking up Shard relatively early on. If this is not Dark Willow carry, I feel like there's a good potential to pick up Faceless Void. You did mention Slark, because I also don't see many counters. This is the hero with time dilation that destroys both Weaver and also against the Tidehunter, so you have something, you have, you know, later on really good initiation where you can kill Tidehunter from 100 to 0 with the Dark Willow, with some spells coming out from the Earth Spirit, so I want to see if they are going to decide to ban it out.
I don't want to see Dark Willow carry in this game. If you're playing Dark Willow carry versus tempo, you're not going to get to that mass in the game where you're strong enough. The thing about Willow is that she needs time to farm. She's a slow farmer. She needs space on the map. She needs to rack up those levels with her Midas, get to the point where she actually has attack speed to take advantage of the Shadow Realm, because she peaks with her like level spikes too. She peaks at level 20. So a carry Willow into a Chen lineup sounds a little bit on the suicidal end, to be honest. But I do think that this Earth Spirit was a great pick. It addressed the lack of control that Nouns had. You mentioned, Lacoste, that Gaimin lacked it, but so did Nouns.
Yeah, and a little surprised that they decided to ban this Necro. I mean, Quinn did play it a lot, but they do have like insane amount of magical damage coming out. Spirit Vessel Wire from the mid lane, from the Earth Spirit, the spell mechanic when Brew uses the split, but they're still going to give it a ton of respect.
I think Necro is one of the better heroes in this current meta. The thing is that why we don't see him as much, because like we have a lot of like AA, Eng, and Shadow Demon in the pool, and they are usually like, you know, picked early. But in this draft against Nouns, like it's a pretty cool pick for Gaming Gladiator. So I really like this ban.
I like Sven potentially for Nouns. You get the cleave damage to play into the Chen. You got the Warcry armor versus Weaver. I mean, I don't really know what's left in this pool unless Nouns are insistent on flexing the Dark Willow to carry, which I mentioned I don't think would be a good idea for them at all.
I love this ban of Bloodseeker, by the way. That's what I mentioned. The hero is really good against Weaver, and, you know, on the lane against Tide, it would be pretty cool as well.
10 seconds remaining.
I think Troll could potentially also work for Nouns here. They do have the 23 pick, right? So they can't necessarily catch them off guard completely, but Troll is one of those heroes that's strong on lane and easy to pick blind versus the enemy's last pick.
I think it's a free Slark game, but they have to understand how to, you know, delay the game and make this Slark viable, because Game Gladiators are gonna go and they're gonna kill towers, you know, heavily with Desolator and Weaver, a lot of creeps from Chen, a lot of auras from Tide. They're gonna have this ball, and they need to, you know, understand how to team fight that ball right now.
Nouns are spending a lot of time thinking about their last ban. Probably still just going to be a mid Quinn hero that they want to take out here.
Like Pango?
Do you make sure you reckon it's just going to be Pango banned out?
I think you have to decide between Pango or Shaker, because both of those heroes are going to give Gaimin the control that they need, but also lane very well versus Earth Spirit mid.
Yeah, I was looking at the two heroes, Earthshaker and Kunkka, because they lane really well. They're going to ban Kunkka, which is going to leave probably Earthshaker as an option, now that there is Terrorblade as well. Like, Terrorblade has been the hero for Gaming Gladiators throughout 2023. They knew how to win with the hero, but they also know how to beat the hero, so I think Nouns rounded up their draft nicely. It's they have a little bit of everything on their side. Good team fight, the spell, good scaling as well. This is also the team that does tend to play slightly longer games. They have 3 games over 16 minutes, and they won 2 of those.
Is it enough on Nouns though to...
It really is. For the memes.
Yeah. Look, Reza said you ban it. They didn't ban it, and so he did pick it. So in a way, you definitely knew that one was coming, Reza. So we'll talk about all Gaming Gladiators draft as a whole in a little bit, because right now I want to know, is Nouns going to hit these timings for TB? Are they going to be able to come up against a tempo that it seems Gaming Gladiators have already set in their draft?
I think it's quite scary when I look at this TB, because while he does give them the damage they need in the late game scaling, I don't necessarily think that this Nature's Prophet plus TB lane are going to punish this Tide enough. Normally you pick this TB if he has a favorable lane matchup, get kills on the offlaner, punish him, but it feels like still a very good lane for the Tide.
All right, we're not going to have too much time to talk about this, because instead we have a coach's interview with Slacks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, my friends. I am here with Stady, the coach of Nouns! Oh, feels pretty good, huh?
Feels pretty good. This arena is amazing. The atmosphere, I love it.
Are you ready for it? Can we give him one USA, please, guys, if you could?
Brazil, Brazil.
We'll get there after this series and when you win, for sure. All right, now, a few questions for you. Of course, first pick Brewmaster, you know, a standard for you guys. The question is, though, are you baiting them? I mean, we have a first pick Weaver for them. We have Quinn's famous Pango. Were you expecting these?
We were 100% sure he would Pango. So we were totally prepared for it. We knew he would do it. The meme is real, you know? 2023, Pangolier.
Okay, fantastic. Now, my heart sank when I saw that Dark Willow. I thought you guys were getting baited like every other team around here and looking for the carry. Did that ever cross your mind in there? Anyone begging for carry Willow in there?
I'll tell the truth, I baited everyone because I asked the EG analyst about Dark Willow carry, and he's like, I'm gonna tell my carry to play it. And then everyone started playing it, but we don't. And then everyone was baited. So, mind games.
Mind games. All right, final question for you. You guys locked in that Terrorblade. You're against very good Terrorblade players, famous for that. Are you prepared to face off against that TB? Or not let them have that TB? They know how to beat your TB.
I believe Actor.
Or do they?
I believe Actor is the best player with illusions. So I trust my team. Definitely GG is an amazing team. They know what to do. But we are playing our strategy, no matter if they understand it or not.
All right, well, I don't understand anything about Dota, my friend, but I do understand we're in for one hell of a match, so let's go ahead and throw it to our casters!
It's been a long road to get here. 6 years of qualifiers, majors, and TI, but we're finally back. Finally back in the Sanctuary in Seattle, the Cathedral of Dota 2, the home of the best competition in the world. Welcome back to the International.
And what a match to start it off, right? I mean, they threw me in here with my ex-teammates, but this is definitely a grudge match if you've ever seen one. NA Dota, South America Dota, combining in one team to take on the Western European powerhouse that has just destroyed the DPC season this year. An underdog, a champion, but only one of them continues, and one of them will go home today.
This is absolutely, I mean, everybody is setting this up. It's a David versus Goliath matchup. The North American and South American group is definitely the underdogs against the three-time major winners. But Nouns were also, once upon a time, looked as the third best team in North America. And then they took down all of their competition back to the NADPC. They ran right through it, and they have now proclaim themselves the best North American team, and maybe they could do much, much more by being able to bring down what was once the best Western European team.
And if any team has insider info, it's going to be Nouns, right? I mean, you have Les Lau out here. He's played with Quinn. They've been on the same team before. He knows how he wants to play, knows how he wants to abuse this mid lane, and that's been one of the secrets to gaming success all year. How do you deal with the support rotations? How do you deal with the mid lane matchups? Can you shut down the side laners while all of that's happening at the same time? And this is another game in lineup that is driven to go high ground early if you give them a start. Chen, Tidehunter, these are two of the heroes they've gone back to. We saw that Necroban as well just to get the trifecta out of there. You give them a lead at 20 minutes, they're going to be pushing tier 3 very fast. You have illusion heroes, you have a Furion, you can stall this map. Can you stalwart the tempo that comes out from gaming and get yourself into that mid late game where you can shine? Because you have Earth Spirit, you have Brewmaster, these are heroes that have won Nouns so many mid late games, as long as you can get there in one piece.
And we're going to start off Nouns needing to be able to win this early lane, and starting off with the first blood. Celery is going to go down. Gunner will clean it up with a boulder from downtown. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we also have a fight on the other bounty rune where they are going to be able to get a kill. So it is a trade-off. Nouns do manage to get the first blood, particularly for their mid laner is very important. That'll help in this mid matchup. Gunner versus Quinn, a matchup that we have seen time and time and time again. It used to be in the NADPC all the time. Quinn making a name for himself as one of the best laners in North America, and then became one of the best laners in the world. And Gunner was always kind of in his shadow.
These are players that have studied under each other. Like you said, played against each other a lot. They played against Sumail a lot too. So if you're going to learn from somebody, become the next protege in that sense. These are the two guys who have been there and are willing to do it. I will say, Quinn has gotten the better of Gunnar in a lot of these lane matches. If you're Nouns, you go in here, you're kind of expecting Quinn to
a lot more than you are.
That's not a big deal. The bigger question is what happens after that. And I think Gunnar has shown that, sure, you can win the lane against him. He's going to get one of his signature heroes. He's going to pop off, and he's going to dictate the mid game a lot more than you are. They knew the Pango was coming as well. They know it's not a real hero, so they know this matchup's not a real matchup. It's just a matter of who imaginarily gets out of it more. I think Gunnar's going to show up today.
I mean, that's the great part about Gunnar, right? Is that this is a player who I think Nouns buck a lot of trends, and one of them is definitely the fact that Gunnar is the player out of all the teams in the top 8, the mid laner who will take the least amount of farm, and he will just try and make plays happen as early as possible. He is a tempo player. He once told me when he was playing on in Southeast Asia with the Jinnabrews team, he told me, I don't care Des. I do not care Des. I only want to make plays happen, and there's a play right there. Celery finds an opening, being able to kill Lilith. Now, it did cost Durachi, who had to run down the river quite heavily and to be able to find that. Moo was free farming during the meantime, but it does kind of set the tempo here of Gaming Gladiators are looking for kills, and they will catch you out if you shred a little bit too far away from the lane. You see Yamson under a bit of pressure there under the Tidehunter Grimstroke play.
Durachio's going to cost him a lot. I mean, this is a great start for Celery, though, and I want to highlight the Chen in this game, because that 20-minute victory Gaming had with Chen, it was all Celery, right? He dominated the safe lane, rotated mid, ganked that lane twice. That tower died at 8 minutes. Game just imploded. So if you give him a fast start on one of his signature, jungle heroes out here, you're going to have auras up, you're going to have the pace. And you don't have a lot of outspam or tower defense. That's the one downside of the lineup for Nouns. They really want to take these skirmishes around the ults, particularly between the Brew and the Earth Spirit here. That's why the XP might be more important for them than the CS. You're talking about they don't care deaths. I mean, deaths determine XP. Pauses determine a mental state.
And unfortunately, we're going to take a little bit more time to figure out all the issues here. Is this NA Dota? Well, a lot of pauses.
Yeah, they didn't host this game on US West.
I mean, K1 Hector, he's like, I'm used to this. This is every single game for me.
I mean, I think Hector's confused because he probably has negative ping compared to what he's normally.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This man is always working on at least 90. The shackles are off, and K1 Hector has shown it in addition to Nouns, who has done a lot of work for them. When you come to this idea that Gunnar is going to be taking very little farm off the map. He wants to be making plays. He wants to find openings, find kills, set the tempo of the game aggressively. You need somebody to be able to pick up the farm game. And really, nobody better than K1 Hector. You talk about the player who takes the least from their position. Now you're looking at the player who takes the most from their position. K1 Hector is by far the biggest farmer in this tournament.
I mean, there's a reason Hector communicates the way he communicates. Right? We've all been in a pub with Hector. Well, I say all of us. I mean, these guys haven't.
We've been
Let me tell you. Yeah, Hector, he just screams on the comms the entire game. Give me mana. Give me salves. Give me stacks.
Yep.
Stop feeding and I'll carry.
That 100% K1 Hector. Stop feeding, stop feed, and I'll carry. That's exactly what that's his vision of the game. Is he is a hard carry player. And there's a reason why he says that. It's true. If you stop feeding, this man will carry games. He knows how to do it in the late game.
Can you bounce it out? Can you make him work? That's the interesting about these two teams as well. They had these additions that they brought into the rest of the four. Hector for Nouns, Quinn for Gaming, and it's changed the dynamic of the team, right? It creates another threat they can play around that gives the team a lot of vision, a lot of purpose in the game. And if you make these players succeed, they will indeed carry you in a lot of these clutch situations. Hector on a Terrorblade, that is a nasty combination. We've seen him be, I think, most proactive on the Chaos Knight, right? But this is a hero that functions very similarly. He can control the map, dictate when he wants to fight. So if he's the most farmed hero going into 30, 40 minutes, you have a decent chance to just shred the front line of Gaming here, unless they already have the auras up. Still, a lot of it coming down to this mid battle, and damn it, is it close. Within 2 CS here for Gunnar going into Quinn.
Yeah, and he's got a creep wave coming underneath tower, so if he gets these last hits, which he does with a quick kick, he'll be able to actually secure a CS lead over Quinn. Bottom lane, though, Durachi is going to be in some trouble. Moo, seeing the opening, Yamson's going to make the rotation. They'll collect not one, but 2 kills in the bottom lane.
Just as I was about to say, where is this Furion going to rotate? Because the mid rotation looks hard if Quinn is this high HP on a mobility hero. You also have to keep in mind when you leave this Terrorblade alone, he's going to get punished, but that is exactly what you're looking for in this early game. Quick rotation into the double kill, shut Durachio's tempo carry down on this Weaver. Not a hero that likes to play from behind, and just gobble up that experience on the side lane. If you're Nouns, your next biggest priority in this game is probably 6-minute Power Rune, 7-minute Wisdom Rune. You get all of those for your 2 supports, you're going to be in a really solid position to contest these tower pushes when they come with the Tide Hunter Meteor Hammer and the Chen grouping up. We'll see if these supports continue to make moves. It's also going to come down to Celery, whether he wants to try and rotate top or mid on this Chen. A hero that can do similar things.
Meta going to be popped here. So damage thrown back the way of Gaming Gladiators, but honestly, they walk away from that. Not too damaged at all. So meta popped, no kill found. I would say a small victory for Gaming Gladiators whenever that happens.
Still waiting for Celery's rotation, though. He just feels pressure to stay bottom on Dyrachyo, given the ice armor. This isn't a lane they dominated, which means the Chen's going to have to linger down here maybe longer than we saw in some of those other Chen games from them. Honestly, this feels like a solid start for Nouns outside of, I mean, Mu is struggling, and Mu is continuing to struggle down here. It is a hero in the Brewmaster that can operate with XP alone, but damn, is he poor. He's going to have to make it up in some of these fights.
Yeah, only just now getting that earned. So those kills they got earlier, not really worth as much. Yamsen going to be in some trouble here. Underneath his own trees, he's going to teleport away. Ace cannot complete the kill. He walks away, damage done, but the damage on a Furion really doesn't mean that much, considering the fact this hero can just TP right back out to lane.
I mean, the thing is he used teleportation instead of the scroll, so he actually can't make a real move off this. He's just going to refill mid. So give up some breathing room to Gaming, and I mean, their cores are starting to take over the lanes right now. You got to keep in mind this Meteor Hammer on the Tide will eventually kick Hector out of top. This Weaver Brew matchup is very good. So now I'm looking at Gunnar, right? You get 6-minute Power Rune here. You have Magnetize up. You have a lot of potential in the tank to get a good fight out of this first ult on the Earth Spirit, especially with how much Gunnar did on this mid lane. He's 500 net worth up on Quinn at 6 minutes. This is a crazy net worth differential for a player we're used to seeing just win the one-on-ones.
I mean, that Earth Spirit laning phase, this hero does so much with that Boulder Smash. They're going to go for the Power Runes here, and it is going to be top. So, Haste Rune for Quinn, big pickup. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Moo's going to take a little bit of aggro here from Dyrachyo, and not much Moo can do to fight back, particularly in a 1v2, but up against Frost Armor and his Harpy. In fact, Mu may have stayed a little bit too long. The Lotus might be able to keep him alive. We'll see whether or not Dyrachyo wants to complete it, and he does manage to get that kill. Celery picks it up with a bit of lightning. Dyrachyo is going to take a lot of damage on his way out, but managed to dodge the brambles pretty smoothly there.
And that's Javelin Rush. So this is aggressive build for Dyrachyo, using the fact he has Ice Armor and some extra Chen regen. Just maxing up the DPS straight into the Maelstrom here, trying to punish Mu as much as possible with the opening they've created. And damn, some good creeps for Celery, right? You cannot ask for anything better out of the jungle early.
Seriously, yeah.
Is this going to allow him to make some aggressive moves as he wants to? 7-minute Wisdom Rune will not be contested here, but it will get split. So, okay news for Nouns. I think they had a possibility of getting 2. You always have it with the Furion, but Yamsen looking for a bigger prize.
They know they're going for the 7-minute Wisdom Rune, which leaves Ace alone. Yamsen's going to try and take advantage of that with the meta still halfway through. If they can just body block him a little bit, that's going to be enough. With this scan, they saw the Grimstroke. Okay, he's picking up the 7-minute Wisdom Rune. Let's make a play in this top lane. A big kill. Even bigger if they can get Dyrachyo as well, but Celery, he's going to try and stop this. In fact, they push damage back onto Mu. A teleport coming in now as Gunnar's going to make his first rotation out, but it looks like he may be a bit late unless he really wants to dive the tower, but he doesn't want to throw away that net worth lead he has.
Only 2 points in the Rolling Boulder, not low cooldown enough to convert on the kill, so that'll be another missed opportunity for Gunnar, still trying to put this Magnetize to use.
Quinn's going to make use of his Haste Rune he picked up earlier. Yamsen, who just wanted to be able to get a little bit of levels. Gunnar rolls in, tries to save his support, and that's going to be enough. Quinn checks out the other direction. 8-minute Power Rune, though, is coming up, and both teams are going to be fighting for it. The fighting continues in the side lanes as well.
They really want this Weaver bottom before the time lapse comes out. This is when Dyrachyo is still susceptible in this lane. You have so much nuke damage. You want the Urn Charge.
Hit it with the Blood Grenade. He's got stick charges. Nice silence. Coming out, the support from Tofu might just be enough to change this fight. Dyrachyo, final hit comes in. So they do trade out cores.
And they get a lot of the Chen creeps off this, honestly.
Oh, Yamsen, he's got no teleport and no TP scrolls. So it's going to be a 2-for-1 in that regard.
So you traded Chen creeps and the Weaver for 2 on the side of Nouns. You did get an Urn Charge off the death for Mu, so a little extra potential there off the Max Cinder build. The lanes are going to start to build up here, and I mean, Celery, he got so much out of that bottom, man. This Chen is
look at this rotation. Ravage straight up into the Meteor Hammer with the supports coming in from behind. They can silence him and make sure there's no chance of getting off a Sunder.
I'm surprised Hector lingered this long up here. He'd already thrown out the Sunder. I mean, this is a Hammer Tide, a tough lane to stand on. when he has the mana for the Ravage. Connection's just too easy here. Now you're gonna get the pressure of the tower. Can Hector come back this lane? Probably not still, unless Nouns are willing to rotate more cores up here, which you could do as you're still holding on to this Magnetize on Gunnar. Just not found the opportunity to use it.
Oh, he really hasn't. Dyrachyo, he'll accept the Curse Crown stun, which is going to set up into Gunnar. Now, he's already popped the Shikuchi, but he does have time lapse, and they don't have enough control. And Moo doesn't have his level 6 yet. He is just a little bit away, but is not going to be able to get it. Meanwhile, Quinn, very efficient use of his Arcane Rune in that play, as he managed to come down here, get a kill with that Arcane Rune, has his abilities back up. They are definitely beginning to get a bit of a lead here on Gaming Gladiators, which is scary for Nouns because they haven't even taken any towers yet, which it is coming. Chen and a Meteor Hammer, you're almost guaranteed as Gaming Gladiators to have a tower lead in the next 5 minutes.
And the Roshan threat, very high in this game with the Swarm plus the minus armor. Chen's gonna give you with a fast Solar Crest here. Gush on top of it, Pangolier coming through with Lucky Shot. It's another one of those tempo lineups that can just decimate you with the armor differential here. So yeah, you give these small openings, they're going to run away with it. Hector did manage to go top and defend that tower at least, so you're going to repel some of the speed Ace was coming out with here.
Yeah, but as he shows himself immediately as smoke up, not only they secured the 10-minute power rune, but if Quinn can connect here, it would be massive for Gaming Gladiators.
Sunder coming back up. 3 seconds on the cooldown is now up for Hector, so there's turnaround potential on this play. If you cannot burst him here, it could go really wrong.
They're going to get on top of him. Silence and the stuns. K1 Hector doesn't really have much help coming in. They're going to use the Rolling Thunder. Last bit of damage required is going to have to come from Quinn, but they do manage to get out the Sunder onto the support. Yamson is going to be sacrificed to keep K1 Hector alive, and he will have to TP back all the way back to the fountain, so it's not even like base out of that. Meanwhile, though, Dyrachyo did die in the bottom lane, the first use of the split from the Brewmaster. And they're also going to get that tower.
Just got run down off the root from Lelis, and this is going to result in a very fast tier 1 out of nowhere that was on a safe lane Gaming we're doing pretty well in, right? So this is a lot of catch-up farm for Moo, putting the first ult to pretty good use here, extra XP.
And he's going to catch up even more if he can complete that Hand of Midas pretty soon.
Oh, that, I mean, you get the Midas here for Moo, I think you're really happy with how this early game ended up, considering of how much pressure that lane was creating on you. Just got to turn it around, big core kill into the tower, into an acceleration item. Yeah, you're really happy with that, especially if you can use this next Brew ult to defend mid.
Yeah, the question is that too greedy, right? Because you know Gaming Gladiators are going to be putting a lot of pressure on you in this next 10 to 15 minutes.
There's some truth there, right? Like, you're giving up an early fighting item to go for this Midas, and you know the tower pressure is going to come fast. I mean, you go in and Midas a Chen creep and say, I did my part, team.
Underneath tower, but it may not matter. Good Terrorize, though, coming out from Lelis. This may buy Gunnar some time to get more Magnetize stacks onto Quinn. Nails him with the next rolling Bobo as he tries to swashbuckle away. Locked in, though, by Tofu. Great spellbound, and they're going to be able to catch him in the hammer. Into the hammer. The chain stuns are real, but Gunnar is somehow still alive, and he's going in. With the Magnetize, he's going to chase after Tofu. Tofu gets the armor. What a turnaround for him. The luck of the gods showing up just in time. Layla's trying to finish off this support and walk away while K1 Hector is feasting on heroes right now. He shows up last of the fight, but he will claim lives here. Oh, Ace actually not too afraid. He's going to try and get this Meteor Hammer in time, but Yamson's already teleported away. The tower survives for now, but damage is done, and Ace is still here with that Meteor Hammer.
Did clean up some Chen creeps. I mean, very good shield rune on the end for Gaming, and Ace just powering through with the damage in this fight. That is an absurd amount of damage for a Tidehunter to be doing at 12 minutes in this engagement. You can show how much, I mean, it shows how much Nouns want to defend this mid tower, and you can't blame him. You hold this tower for another couple ults, it secures a lot of your map, buys Hector time. There's just no way to stop it. It is inevitable. Ace is inevitable, as he has been all season long. He will push himself to the top of the board here, having a tremendous Tidehunter game. And he's going to become an issue because you don't really have direct burst damage or stack building heroes to take him down. There's a lot he can dispel in this game between the Dark Willow, the Magnetize. You can toss him in the air and take the fight 5-on-4. That is a route Nouns can think about going, but for now, Ace is going to be a brick wall.
A brick wall that is particularly important for Gaming Gladiators, as much of their success throughout the season has been based around him and his playstyle, which that did become weaker with some changes in the game, but it seems like Gaming Gladiators have maybe found a position for Ace to really take over the game. That hit again. Nice hit with the Terrorize, lined it up into the stun. Gunnar easily has the control to bring down the Weaver.
And this is going to be Nouns' biggest target the whole game. Dyrachyo We've seen him on this Weaver before, right? He has some bad deaths, but this is also a hero that's very susceptible once you start getting killed once. It just starts rolling. That's a 4th death for the gaming carry on a hero that ideally will give them Roshan and a siege mechanism at a certain point. Still level 9 on the Weaver at 14 minutes. He is falling behind in XP. Noun's got a few more cheeky kills on him. This is a way to just bump your supports up, help you take those tower defense fights.
Yeah, who cares if they're taking all your towers if their hard carry is still poor and cannot outmatch the Terrorblade. Try to roll in, Quinn. Invisibility and managed to sidestep that boulder coming across. He's going to get some information out here, though they do seem to know he's here. Can they bait him in somehow? They're afraid there's more behind him, so they're just going to back out.
This is your defusal timing on the Pango. Ravage back up for Ace. He's a little bit off the blink, but it did prompt the smoke from Gaming to push into the Nouns triangle. However, they vacated it. For whatever reason, they knew it was coming. However, they're just going to run it back. Ace trying to control both jungles right now. Without a blink, this initiation's a little difficult. Will Hector see it coming? The tree line.
If they get around, just around this corner and find him, maybe it's possible. Slow him down. Get on top of him with the Inks while the Ravage are going to go out. Big burst damage and no mana and silence. Too much for Hector to deal with here.
Really nice connection. Just enough reach.
The worst part for Nouns is they were making a smoke move at the same time, so.
Yeah, they were looking for Ace. Try and preemptively read this. This is why Hector was there in the first place. Almost gets baited by the own move. And hey, 15 minutes, we're already pushing a tier 2 with Chen to back it up on the Skelly boys, adding their aura.
I think this is the part that I love about this matchup. I feel like Nouns and Gaming Gladiators have both bucked the trends when it comes to the heroes and strategy of this tournament. Nouns certainly have their own list of heroes that I think are special to them. Meanwhile, Gaming Gladiators, I mean, playstyle-wise, everybody's going like 50, 60 minutes in these games, but Gaming Gladiators, they're ending games at 25 sometimes.
This is a team that does not care what anybody else is doing right now.
Yeah.
And they're going to speed it up. And like you said, both these teams, I think, are 2 of the faster teams this tournament. They're happy to just take these fights, win it in the mid-game. If it goes late, I mean, they always have a backup plan.
Sure.
And I feel like Hector is probably the better backup plan here, but man, we've seen Weaver scale a lot harder than he used to in a lot of these matchups, especially when you have a bunch of auras and Tidehunter and Chen behind you. And there's also just not a huge amount of control for Pangolier in the late game. That's one of the things. I mean,
yeah.
We saw Steenie talk about they knew this Pango was coming. I feel like everybody knew it was coming. Can you stop it anyway?
Magnetize builds up, kills not only the Chen, but also...
That's pretty value. Honestly, very value here. Every time you take Celery off the map, you're slowing Gaming down. You're slowing down the next objective. Huge amount of gold into Gunner's pocket. Frees up the map. And I mean, Gaming were just split, right? We're talking about them abusing the fact they have a very strong ball. They were waiting for this Ravage to be back up. Rare misstep will cost them some time, and that is time for Hector to get the lanes out, or at least attempt to.
He kind of has to, otherwise they're going to lose too much control over Roshan. The next objective for Gaming Gladiators on the list. They have a 3,000 net worth lead. They could take away this last remaining tower. They're going to have really good control of the Roshan pit, and you said they've got a great team to take it too.
It's just a race to the team fight items. You're looking for Radiance on Mu, give you that huge AoE damage in the fight. But you're also looking for these big auras on Gaming in the pipe on Celery and the BKB on Dyrachyo. That's a very big item for them as well. We'll make sure that they can man up in this Roche pit, deal with the Terrorize, deal with Tornado, all these AoE spells that Nouns are trying to throw on the Weaver. Pretty much useless, and you don't have the physical to burst him yet. If Mu can get this Radiance untouched, I think you have a decent shot contesting.
Yeah, but he's about to be ganked. Ace is going to jump forward with that Blink Dagger. Anchor already locking him down, trying to see if he can land the Meteor, and he does manage to with a Swashbuckle to follow it up. They've got this kill. Mu is going to find his Radiance delayed even further. You saw we have 3 different cores on Nouns that are all trying to get that next big item, but the pressure is mounting from Gaming Gladiators.
And it's just Gunner who's really getting there. Looking for Heart on the Earth Spirit. I mean, he is massive. He still had a tremendous game here, 3-1, pretty much untouched. But all this objective gold is just making his net worth not look as effective as he wanted to, so he still just wants to fight. Gunner wants to slay here, give him an opportunity, set it up.
But how do you fight into this 5-man ball that's coming your way from Gaming Gladiators?
I mean, you have to take the tower defense or the Roche contest. It's one of those two, which means every time you give a pick off like that Brewmaster, you miss one of those opportunities right now.
Right.
So Gunner, he wants to push into this Heart and take a fight immediately after. Also, you're rushing towards his Ags on the Pangolier. A lot of extra damage and takeability coming out, and you don't have Rolling Thunder control. So this Axe is gonna do work if you let Quinn get to it for free here.
Oh, jump onto the two of them with the double ravage, with the meteor. What an opportunity from Ace. Just like that, cutting 2 down right in front of your tier 3. Wait, who needs a Roshan?
Yeah, Roshan be damned. You died in a bad part of the map to die on right now, as Moo is struggling to get to this relic. An early glyph as well is just gonna open up this entire lane. Solar Crest and Pipe done for Celery. This Chen is massive right now. Do you have the damage to take this fight? You're almost like all magic oriented.
Yeah. His tier 3 is going to be forfeited before they even get their heroes back up. They still need another 5 for the Brewmaster to get here, but Gaming Gladiators will relent. They say, okay, we just did some serious economic damage to you, being able to kill 2 of your heroes. Once again, that Radiance is delayed. We've taken more and more property off the map, and now we could just go back to farming our side lanes again.
And the team items are just rolling in, right? I mean, Hector, at this point, he might be asking his team to please slow the game down. Just let me get to Scotty. We can take a good engagement, because right now, it's a lot to punch through. You give Ace another big team fight item here, and you're going to have to abuse buybacks at a certain point. You need some extra firepower. Ato's done for Lels, looking for the extra setup. Another big smoke, but you just got pushed in really deep in your base. Gaming got obs in your base as well, so these moves are very telegraphed right now. Hector's just, he struggled to get these lanes in deep.
Yeah, big difference between, I would say, K1 Hector and his Terrorblade play and Dyrachyo. I mean, Dyrachyo would be running down lanes constantly. He would die sometimes for it, but he would achieve some space. K1 Hector playing a lot more conservatively, trying to protect his own net worth. And it does result in some lane problems here. They're going to go ahead and deal with the Tormentor, pick up a little bit of extra gold for one of their supports here. Almost killing Yamson, but Playlist is going to be the pickup.
Not a bad shard to get if you can make it work in the fight. Decent net worth for him.
Yeah.
Still looking for this Radiance on Moo. That's going to be the big one for Nouns. Is, I mean, they're finishing up that Scotty and Hart between the 2 other cores, so they're really ready to gun it here. Contest that Roshan, which still hasn't been claimed by Gaming. If you can do that, you can turn a lot of this momentum around, put Gaming in an awkward position where the high ground just doesn't look that appetizing, and then what are you doing on the map, right? What are you using with all these auras for? It's just a race to this 21, 22-minute mark. Are you fast enough if you're Nouns? Are you willing to even contest this? Scotty done. It's on a pretty damn good timing here. Man, Hector, he's big. This is where you want it all to align and just have it work for you. But Gaming, they're just too fast here. You're not here in time. Early momentum, just the extra gold from the tier 3, the tier 2s that they claim. It's going to propel them into this Roche for free. Who are you going to give it to? Give it to the real hero.
They are going to give it to the real hero. Pango's going to take it. Level 15, just picked up a shard as well, so he's going to be tough to combat in these fights. He's going to get in there with his Rolling Thunder, and
it's a lot of damage.
Tons of damage. Just a question of whether or not Nouns can find that opening, right? Ace gets the anchor. Really good tool to be able to lock down these mobile cores. Earth Spirit's going to take some damage here, but nobody's rotating on the side of Gaming Gladiators. They're just trying to scare him back because they're still making this move in bottom lane. Dyrachyo wants to keep the pressure up here. They still have this last remaining tier 2 in the bottom lane.
You just want to stall. Cut as many lanes as possible. Stall this push as long as possible to put Hector in the best position to take that high ground defense fight when Gaming will likely force the issue.
Yeah.
And just go in, try and... I mean, your burst is just so bad. That's the one downside. But you do have kickback here. And this is great lane cutting. This is going to put Gaming in a position where you're losing some gold to force these plays. And if this high ground goes wrong, we've seen it go very wrong in this meta.
They're actually going to skip past this tier 2 because they want the pressure in here as quick as possible. Now, Layla's going to be in some trouble here with the Inkswell coming in from the Weaver. Caught by the Brambles, though. They have the Meteor Hammer. Lots of AoE damage. He gets off the Terrorize, but actually a roll-up from Quinn dodges that fear, and they immediately put the damage onto the ranged barracks. Melee's going to be dying soon. Nouns, they're missing their timing. They still don't have that Radiance on the Brewmaster. They're not quite ready to take this engagement, and Gaming Gladiators are going to punish them for it. In fact, they're going to chase after Moo. Has to use the Primal Split. Otherwise, there was danger of him being locked down, but his Brewling may be dying immediately. This last Brewling, it's in trouble. It's going to be chased down. He's gone. He's dead. It doesn't even matter if he has buyback if you don't have the Primal Split.
Still doesn't have the Radiance. That's your level 2 ult down in a flash before Hector was even willing to come back. This might just be another... I mean, the waves did get cut. That's the one upside here, so you're defending the base through the backdoor protection. But damn, you still have 3 minutes on this Aegis. You're just giving up too many core pickoffs here. The lead's not growing, but the momentum is.
Yeah, eventually a wave is going to be protected, and Gaming Gladiators will put damage on those buildings once again. You have to come up with a team fight somehow. Eventually, you cannot concede all of these buildings, but Gaming Gladiators are giving no space to breathe whatsoever. A kick away, that's not good enough. The chain stun for the Rolling Thunder is a problem for Gunner, and even stopping by to be able to stop the damage from K1 Hector. They stun him up, and then they retreat. They say meta has been used. Let's go ahead and make sure we have the spacing. We don't get caught too much like Quinn, who may be in trouble here, does have the Aegis, so this is just going to be his first life. Not a big deal, especially if he can get kills out of it. Moo and K1 Hector limping along, forced to use the Sunder here onto Ace, but they just do not seem to have the damage to threaten these heroes. Meanwhile, Nouns are dropping like flies out here.
I mean, it's such a fast Shivas from Ace, just gets it on everybody. This attack speed aura really hurting Hector right now. But the damage, but not the speed to get through it. And a second lane at 24 minutes. Now,
and the only saving grace for Nouns is if they can get Hector out of here. They have this tier 2 up, but maybe it's not even needed. If the carry dies here, they might just be able to go straight for the throne. Layla's trying to limp back to the fountain. Will be able to make it. The cores, they're going to have to use some buybacks here. A kill on Jirachu would be crucial to holding, and Nouns do manage to get that much.
Gotta
and
get
they
more.
get more. Gunner chasing after him, doing what he can, but afraid of the turnaround. Yams is going to try and lend him support here. Sets it up with the Sprout into the rolling boulder. Do they have enough stuns to control this Pango? A silence fall went up, and they do manage to get him 2 cores on the side of Gaming Gladiators as they overstep themselves, daring to tread close to the staircase of the fountain.
Those are big kills, almost 3,000 gold total, so at least you're getting something on the backswing. But like you said, still just not a entire team fight put together for Nouns, right? We haven't seen it the whole game between the Radiance Brew, which is still not just finished, by the way. Thank God I don't have to pray for it anymore. But now you have Radiance Brew online. You have to get these ults in sync. That's been the biggest problem. Ace is just continuously forcing the issue before you're ready to take that straight 5-on-5. I mean, he instantly put that Shivas to use on the back end, and if you don't have all 5 heroes there, you lack the damage right now. That's been
the difference in network despite the Midas pickup.
Yes.
Between Moo and Ace.
I mean, Moo and Celery at this point, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about Chen accelerating these games. Zero benefits so much from these Raxes going down because it just sets you up for an entire other team item. Vlad's done as well, buffing up the damage here across the board. This is where this hero is absolutely terrifying, and looking down the barrel of Megas, it's going to be a hero you're thinking about game 2 no matter what. Because once he gets to control the game like this, it just throws you into a tough position. Going to look for a core pickoff of their own.
If they can get it, the Inkswell is going to be able to help out Quinn. He rolls up, turns around now with the Rolling Thunder, and it's going to be Nouns who are now on the retreat. Caught by the Soulbind. Does manage to get out the Primal Split, though, and thanks to Gunner's hearts, he does have plenty of HP. Caught here on the river, but do they really want to go for the Tidehunter first? He is untouchable.
Absolutely invincible at this point, and Ace knows that this is not even a fight Hector showed up to.
He's going to chase after Moog here, see if he can get him.
Jirachu on the
with
back.
the anchor on his way out. Now the real Brewmaster is revealed. They do manage to jump on Jirachu here. Can they turn this around? The BKB activated to buy Jirachu, but a Glimmer Cape might just get moved out of here. Jirachu searching, won't find anything. Ace, he's not going to jump in. No need to at this point in time. They still cannot hit that bottom lane, that final lane of barracks just yet. There's still this tier 2 in their way. So.
Yeah, look at the top wave. Hector got it all the way in. So you have a catapult pressuring the tier 2 for gaming right now that Jirachu has to go back and clean up here. I like that fight a lot better than some of these other pickoffs though, right? Especially the one we saw right by their tier 3 that translated into breaking that base first. You take a fight on gaming side of the map, even if it goes a little wrong for you like that, you're not getting punished for it. And now maybe you can create an opening elsewhere with Jirachu having gone back to the other side of the map. Gaming missing some heroes here.
Yeah, this is a big slip up here for Gaming Gladiators if they lose these heroes. There's so many from Nouns being brought to the table. They need to be able to lock down Ace, but he's so tanky and he had the mobility. The Force Staff, they're going to try and hit this Terrorize onto Quinn. Couldn't roll up in time. Gets hit by that first. The chain stuns are here. Gunner locks it down, and there's another pickup for Nouns. Another breath for Nouns to take in this game.
That's a very big one, and it's a great read of the map. This is all Hector setting that up. He gets that top lane in, you take a fight, nobody dies, it gives you room, and then you get the punish on the other side of the map with gaming not respecting the fact that, hey, there's an unlimited chase down hero on the side of Nouns, right? That is the power that Earth Spirit gives you with the new stones.
Yep.
Gunner's gonna chase you, he's gonna catch you, he's gonna sink somebody into the dirt here. That's more gold into Hector's pocket, more damage coming online. If you can get to the full Silver Edge here, all of a sudden your front line goes away if you're Tidehunter.
Right.
The control can suddenly be there. You can chain stun Ace. The armor's still going to be a problem, but you're starting to find the solutions here, and this lead back down to 9K. This is all you're trying to do in the game right now if you're Nouns. Keep the economic damage to a minimum and prevent gaming from getting to that last lane of racks, which is going to make the game a real uphill battle if they get a free Megas.
But you know, Gaming Gladiators, they see these pickoffs, and it is a wake-up call for them. They're going to go ahead and try and clean up the lanes, but they're also going to group up a little bit more.
Gunnar trying to break the smoke here. Does get scanned, so Ace knows.
Roll away. Is it in time? Gets him on the anchor. Nobody's going to be able to deal with this. Oh, good force tap down to the cliff. They need to be able to deal with this anchor still. Earth Spirit this far away. He still has that heart. He's pretty tanky, but Dyrachyo is shredding him pretty quickly. Does manage to roll outside and into his base. Dyrachyo just not quite in front of him. And that's going to be a BKB used.
Yeah, that's all the way down to 6 seconds already. It doesn't feel like we've seen a fight where he got to use it at all. And it's down to the minimum. That's how much Nouns have been cutting out this fight. And another fight where Ace did not want to pull the trigger on the Ravage there. Feels like Gunnar's either slightly too tanky or maybe he has a buyback and they get in a weird, awkward position. But like you're talking about breathing room, that's some more breathing room right now for Nouns as they hold this game steady. And now they're looking for their own pickoff. Once more, Gunnar will find the catch.
With this beautiful combination, Bedlam rolling Boulder, but the heroes are tanky. He got off the pipe, and now it's a problem. Gunnar, half health, Rolling Thunder, completely chain-setting him down. No way to be able to get out. Now they're scrambling here. K1 Hector, he's going to be in some trouble. He's
back
off
from
the
Gunnar.
medic, trying to fight back into these heroes, but he is lacking in the teammates to do so. The buybacks are going to be coming in. They do manage to get off the Thunder, but immediately time-lapse rectifies that bit of damage. Gunnar rolls back in. It's the stun, but K1 Hector needs to be able to retreat. This Tidehunter is constantly playing in his face, constantly slowing him down. And K1 Hector, he's going to go for a desperate TP away. The damage are going to come too quickly, though. And now Nouns are left perhaps broken as they have 3 heroes dead with no buyback, and they do not have the lanes pushed in either.
Yeah, that's exactly what Gunnar is trying to do right now. He says, Yamson, make as much space as possible. I will try and clear up some lanes with this buyback that yielded nothing. There's just no damage on the board here. Ace just runs through all of them, does not give a damn.
Yeah, but
Dyrachyo gets to clean up.
It's just so much different, right? The pickoffs on the Pango when he's alone, sure, damage looks okay, but then you get these 5 heroes all grouped up around this pipe and these auras.
And that was a fight where Gunnar found the Chen first. This is supposed to be the target you want to kill at the start of a fight. 2,000 HP with Pipe, Vlad, Solar. It's not even that easy. Hell, even the Ogre Totem doing some work here for Celeries. He's just way too beefy. This is a beautiful Chen game right now as you are running out of damage. If you ever had it on the side of Nouns, that's going to be a 31-minute Megas.
And I love the fact that they just back away immediately. They're going to deal with further objectives. They've got Tormentor. They've got Roshan coming up. They are not going to give an opening to Nouns and let them climb back into the game like they did earlier. Learning from those mistakes, they stay grouped up, and they will back away. Roshan is going to be spawning in just 15 seconds time. And Nouns, well, they're going to have to be playing against Megas for the rest of the game.
Well, we have seen our fair share of Megas come back at TI.
True, but I'm not sure if I've seen any this early. 32-minute Mega creep.
Yeah, it's a little tough.
If Nouns is going to make that comeback, it's going to be a long haul game. It's going to be another 40 minutes or something like that, which we've seen a lot of those games. But again, Gaming Gladiators, that's just not their MO. They don't let you get to those late games if they can help it, and they're a great position to be able to end it as they take this Roshan, get the extra Aegis and Cheese. One final push is all it could take.
I also just don't see what's changing the paradigm in terms of Ace walking into 5 of you and going, what's up? Yeah, I mean, what has been the answer from the entire game? And it's supposed to be this Silver Edge on Hector. I think that's the one big difference maker here. Get the break in, and then all of a sudden you can stack the magic damage, the magnetize, all these debuffs on Ace. Maybe you have a chance of bringing the Titan down. But damn, it's just gotten delayed here as Hector is still searching for the damage, still searching for the levels as well. When you don't win the fights like this, you just fall behind. He's only level 16.
Yeah, and we're seeing the
17.
The carry ability of the Weaver. You talked about how this hero scales so much better than maybe it used to. He's got an MKB complete, and he's now level 20, so he's got the plus 90 Geminate attack damage.
Plus the shard. This is just a huge power point for Dyrachyo. Absolutely going to shred all 5 of you in the fight if he just gets the Sakuchi through. Nouns will take the smoke wrap. Pretty heads-up play if they can find the supports on the backside.
What are they looking for here?
Grimstroke, Chen, that's it. got to find the squishies, take them out, get a numbers advantage.
Supports are bust, but they have the scan. Gaming Gladiators made the read, and now they know they're outside of position here. They're immediately going to pounce on it. Gaming Gladiators read you like a book, and they will slam that book shut as they get these 2 pickups, and into the base they go to now finish it off.
Quinn just burning Hector's man out as well. I mean, everything is around Ace. Go with Ace. Follow his jumps. The man has led you very far. He'll continue to lead you farther here.
Once again, it's underused. Gunner, he just has to go in, but shredded. That heart doesn't mean anything for him anymore.
So much for a tanky meta. Yeah, game 1 in the books here with a very, very fast 10 lineup from Gaming. And if you're going into game 2, you're thinking, how do we slow this team down, right? That is all you're thinking about right now. Is it heroes? Is it players? Is it a play style thing? Do we need stronger lanes? More auras of our own? Something has to happen, though, because Gaming have shown they're not afraid to push these games high ground 20 minutes.
That's the part I love.
If you don't have the outspam, if you don't have the lane shove, you just get pushed down.
Yep. I love the fact that Gaming Gladiators are showing that there is a way to be able to punish most of the strategy that teams have been running with, which has been a lot of greed, a lot of hand of Midas, scaling cores, scaling supports. And Gaming Gladiators are showing that, hey, there's a different way to be able to play this game. And you have to be prepared that this game may end before you're able to come online.
And this was with a lot of now signature heroes we've seen them own with for a lot of this early tournament, right? The